Infinite patience. The Rooster. Here is a short story about a young rooster who tries to force the sunrise with his crowing until he discovers that light cannot be hurried, only welcomed when it comes. On a small farm beside a wide green valley lived a young rooster named Rufus. Every morning, he climbed onto the highest fence post and crowed just before sunrise. Rufus believed the sun rose because he called it. "The whole farm depends on me," he often announced. "Without my crow, morning would never arrive." The older animals smiled but said nothing. One evening, thick clouds covered the sky. Rain began falling, and the valley disappeared behind gray mist. Rufus became worried. "What if the sun cannot find us tomorrow?" he asked an old farmer named Elias. "The sun knows where it is," Elias replied. "But how will it know when to rise?" "It does not need your permission." Rufus was offended. "My crow begins the day." "Your crow announces what is already happening," said Elias. "It does not cause the light." Rufus decided to prove him wrong. That night, long before dawn, he climbed onto the fence and crowed. "Cock-a-doodle-doo!" Nothing happened. He crowed again, louder. Still, the sky remained dark. Rufus continued for an hour. The cows woke up annoyed. The sheep began pacing. The barn cat covered her ears with her paws. "Why is it still night?" Rufus cried. "Because night has not finished," Cub Elias said from the farmhouse doorway. Rufus flapped his wings. "Then I must try harder." He crowed until his throat hurt. The darkness remained. At last, Rufus climbed down from the fence and sat beneath the barn roof. He felt embarrassed and frightened. What if morning never comes? Elias sat beside him. "Have you ever seen the sun fail to rise?" "No." "Then what are you afraid of?" "That I have not done enough," Elias nodded. "You are using effort to fight what only trust can meet." Rufus looked across the dark farm. "How long must I wait?" "As long as the dawn requires." "That sounds unbearable." "It becomes unbearable only when you believe waiting means abandonment." Rufus became quiet. Rain tapped gently on the roof. The cows returned to sleep. The sheep settled into the hay. Rufus listened to the farm breathing around him. After a while, he noticed the darkness changing. It did not vanish all at once. First, the clouds softened from black to deep blue. Then a thin silver line appeared beyond the hills. Rufus jumped up. "It is happening." Elias smiled. "Yes." Rufus climbed slowly onto the fence. He felt the familiar urge to crow immediately, but Elias raised one finger. "Listen first." Rufus waited. The silver line became gold. Birds stirred in the trees. The wet fields began shining. Warm light spread across the barn roof. Then Rufus crowed. This time, his call did not feel like a command. It felt like a welcome. The sun rose behind the clouds exactly as it always had. Rufus looked at Elias. "My crow did not bring the morning." "No. Then does my crow matter?" "Of course. It has a purpose, but its purpose is not control." "What is it?" "To celebrate the light when you recognize it." Rufus thought about all the times he had tried to force life to move faster. He had pecked seeds before they sprouted, shouted at chicks before they learned, and become impatient whenever the farmer closed the barn door. "I thought patience meant doing nothing," Rufus said. "Patience is not passivity," Elias replied. "The farmer prepares the soil, plants the seed, waters the field, and protects the crop. But he does not pull on the plant to make it grow." "So patience still acts?" "Yes, it acts without attacking time." Over the following weeks, Rufus began watching the farm differently. He saw hens sitting quietly on eggs that showed no visible change. He saw seeds resting beneath the soil. He saw young calves learning to stand, falling, and trying again. Nothing was being forced, yet life continued unfolding. One afternoon, a frightened chick refused to leave the nesting box. Rufus said, "Come out now." The chick hid deeper. Rufus remembered the dawn. He sat beside the box instead. "I will stay here," he said. Minutes passed. Then the chick slowly stepped forward. Rufus smiled. The chick had not needed pressure. It had needed safety. From then on, whenever Rufus felt impatient, he asked, "Is something mine to do now?" If there was, he did it gently. If there was not, he waited without turning the waiting into punishment. Years later, Rufus became the oldest rooster on the farm. Young birds often asked him how to make the sun rise. Rufus would laugh. "You do not make the light come. You prepare yourself to recognize it." Then he would climb onto the fence before dawn, listen as the darkness softened, and welcome the morning with one clear, joyful crow. Above the barn door, Elias painted a small sign. Love never hurries what patience is already holding. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.